Yo, what is going on, everyone? Chris back with the 4K review, and this time I got Scarface, starring the legend himself, Al Pacino. And growing up, I didn't watch this film until I was in my late teens and early 20s, and that's when I realized how great of an actor Pacino is. And of course, I saw, the Godfather movies and many of his other films, but I always felt that Scarface was a film that really showcased how versatile he is as an actor. But anyway, let's talk about the 4K presentation, and right off the bat, I can tell you that this looks good in comparison to the old Blu-ray. Like, for example, you can practically see all the strands of hair on Michelle Pfeiffer's head during the dance sequence at Chapter 9. And it's more of a cinematic experience on 4K, which wasn't the case on Blu-ray since it had edge enhancement and it just didn't have that natural appearance as the 4K does. Look, this movie was never meant to be bright and shiny. Instead, we are treated to a presentation that showcases what 4K can do given the proper film elements. So with that being said, the transfer is good even though it's not reference quality. Honestly, it's even slightly soft in many scenes. And black lows are deep even though it's borderline black crushed at times, and the grain is also intact but it doesn't overpower the image. I felt the colors were pushed a bit more towards the red than I would have preferred. You'll especially notice it on Pacino's face and some of the other characters, but overall, I can't deny how nice this transfer looks even though it has its flaws here and there. But it does feel as if it's being projected from the film reels themselves. It's the best the film has ever looked, no question about it. And honestly, I don't think it could look any better than this. For the audio, they went with the D-Test X mix, and I wish they would have gone with an Atmos track, but what can I say? Unfortunately, we can't always have what we want. I felt the X track sounded muffled a bit and a little out of sync in a few places, and the bass was moderate. Other than that, it's just an okay mix, nothing great. So overall, I'm rating both the picture and audio quality a 4 out of a 5. And for features, you get an all-new conversation with Brian De Palma, Al Pacino, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Stephen Bauer, which took place at the Tribeca Film Festival and has a runtime of about 27 minutes, and I highly recommend it. I thought it was really interesting. Plus, you get deleted scenes, Scarface, the TV version, and all the other features that were ported over from the Blu-ray release. So yeah, even though it's not the most perfect release of the film on 4K, it still is a worthy pickup since it does look better than the Blu-ray, that is for sure. So anyway, I wanted to switch gears and share an interesting story with you guys. And many years back, I actually had the pleasure of meeting Al Pacino in Beverly Hills. And downstairs of the building I was working in, there was this small theater called the Wilshire Screening Room, which is still there. And they used it to screen movies before it's released to the public for either critics or for the actors and production team. So anyway, I was walking down the hall going past the theater to grab lunch at the cafe next door. And there was Pacino standing there talking to someone outside the theater, and I literally had to do a double take. It was a real surreal moment for me. I mean, there he was, Michael Corleone, Tony Montana standing in front of me, and I had no other choice but to go up to him and shake his hand. I was like, Al, great to see you. How you doing? And he was like, I'm good. How you doing? I then asked him, what's going on in the screening room. He goes, it's for one of my upcoming films, just checking to see if anything needs to be changed before it's released. I was like, with you being in the film, nothing needs to be changed. It's going to be perfect. Then he started to laugh and said, I really appreciate it. And it felt as if it's two friends who hadn't seen each other for a while catching up over a conversation. And you know what was so interesting? One of the greatest actors of all time is actually shy in person. I couldn't believe it. Just a down-to-earth gentleman. And what also makes it even more interesting, a couple weeks later after I talked to him, I went to have lunch at the Polo Lounge with my girlfriend at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And as we were about to enter the restaurant, who do I see? Al Pacino coming out of the Polo Lounge with two Russian women by his side, I kid you not. And he looked at me and we both nodded. I knew he recognized me, but I didn't talk to him the second time around because I didn't want to bother the guy while he's busy with a couple ladies. And I just thought it was so interesting to see him twice within a couple weeks like that. So anyway, that is my experience of meeting the legend himself. So closing it out, stay tuned because I'm going to end my review with screenshots from the 4K release. And of course, you got to see the film in motion to really appreciate it. But at least this way, you get a better idea of how the image looks. So take care and enjoy.